I want to talk about one of the most interesting buy opportunities I personally see in the stock market right now. Now, I know if you come to these videos, normally you're looking for a full market breakdown, and I'll give you that very quickly, but in reality, the market did a whole lot of nothing today, so I figure it's worth your time and my time to talk about something a little bit more interesting, and that's exactly why I want to talk about potentially the best buy opportunity right now in real time. But of course, before we get to that, if you enjoyed these type of market breakdown videos, and now I guess these stock call out videos, let me know by hitting that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. With all that being said, let's rock. Say it ain't so, but the stock market lost its winning streak today. After 6 glorious green days back to back to back to back to back, it could not make it that famous day number 7. Here was the official headline. Dow slides more than 100 points. S&P 500 snapped a 6-day winning run. That it did. We had a small loss of 0.4% today. But with that being said, taking a step back to this extreme low where we recently were, we're now up 22.8%, which puts us not that far at all from the all-time high. We're only down 3.3%. Obviously, this is a very nice rally. And for those of you who really study the candlestick patterns, you know this is inside day. You know this is a doji day. You know this is an undecided day. You know that this day tells you a whole lot of nothing. In fact, if you look at it, you could realize we pumped, we dumped, we pumped, we had a bigger dump, and then we pumped back into close. The SPY losing 0.34%, the NASDAQ losing 0.33%, and right now, actually, crypto's looking really good. Right before I started filming this, Bitcoin was clocking in just below 107. MicroStrategy, nice rally into close. So what we're seeing right now is a pivot in the overall interest of the overall market to individual equities and more specifically crypto. Here's a heat map of the S&P 500. It's mixed, but there's a lot more red than there is green. So once again, things just needed a realistic breather. For those of you who care about the options flow, the market was choppy sideways until 115, and then the delta sold off and then magically came right back. Once again, it's just choppy. It's a complete mess. The Mag 7 was a little bit more bearish, but if you dive into the individual equities, once again, we are seeing opportunity in some of these crypto related names. And yes, I will be diving into this at the end of the video in a couple minutes here, but that's not necessarily where I'm seeing the best opportunity right now. But just so you know, for tomorrow, Wednesday, May 21st, there's nothing really scheduled. We are supposed to get crude oil inventories for all my energy traders, but in reality, I think the big news is going to relate to the political front and that big, beautiful bill that's a little bit in jeopardy. And remember, the self-imposed deadline is this upcoming Monday, Memorial Day. Trump loses patience with SLT demands as tax bill faces snag. Now, I should add in a little caveat here today. Early this morning, Trump was doing an impromptu real-time interview, and he was asked about this, and he's like, what do you mean I'm losing my patience? We're actually ahead of schedule. Things are looking really good. Regardless, the news is reporting it another way. Trump warns GOP dissenters to drop objections on SALT and Medicaid. President visits Capitol Hill to urge passage of tax agenda, saying holdouts risk being knocked out of party. Once again, we do have publications reporting it this way, but if you listen to the interview, the way Mr. Johnson and Mr. Trump were talking was actually everything's looking pretty good. So I just want to give you both sides of the story. And now we can get to the exciting part. I'm going to give you 3 different reasons. I'm going to cover the narrative, the technicals, and the options of why I think this stock, a little ditty that goes by the name of Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA, is gearing up for another leg higher. First of all, let's start with the narrative. Musk commits to Tesla's CEO role and plans political pullback.
Do you see yourself, and are you committed to still being the chief executive of Tesla in 5 years' time?
Yes.
No doubt about that at all?
Well, no, I might die.
Okay, short of that.
I can't be CEO if I'm dead, so there's a slight amount of...
Does that mean that the value of your pay doesn't have any bearing on your decision?
Well, that's not really a subject of discussion in this forum. I think obviously there should be compensation for, if something incredible is done, that compensation should match that something incredible was done.
So first note, on just the commentary of what was said there. That was Musk's interview from today. I think anyone that drives extreme shareholder value should be compensated fairly. That's my personal opinion, and I think it's the opinion of anyone with a functioning brainstem, except for that judge in Delaware. Second of all, I think recently in Tesla's stock sell-off that we saw from roughly December up until April was large institutional players and also sovereign wealth funds not being so happy with the fact that the leader of the company was splitting his time. It was no surprise to anyone that when there's only 24 hours in the day and you're spending a lot of the time on the political circuit, obviously your own, brainchild, Tesla itself, is not getting your full attention. Well, the recent news is that Elon's going to be taking a step back from politics and redirecting his time to Tesla as a company. So from a narrative perspective, what was recently hurting the stock is actually, in my opinion, going to be spinning back around and benefiting the stock. That's the narrative part. Now let's talk about the technicals. Anyone who knows basic technicals would agree higher highs and higher lows is bullish, while lower highs and lower lows is bearish. So recently, guess what we've been having? Starting in late April, we now officially have higher highs, and now we have officially lower lows. From just a basic trend perspective, that is bullish. From a momentum perspective, we went from being below all the EMAs to being on top of the EMAs. So we have positive narrative news, we have bullish technicals, and we have bullish momentum. So the final thing I really care about is what's going on in the world of options, and this is where it gets really exciting. So on the screen now, shout out to Spot Gamma, you basically get to see all the major gamma levels and the cumulative gamma, that's this line here, while these are all the players at the individual open interest levels for Tesla. So you can see that we're trading in the realm of 340-ish, and we have a low vol point at 355. That's going to be a natural target, and obviously we're trading right here at 344. So just that first level I would be targeting is 355. But then from there, you're going to notice there's a massive gamma node at 365. And then if you follow this cumulative gamma line down, it actually goes from positive to negative somewhere between 372 and 375. So regardless of how you play it, there are three very reasonable upside targets of 355, the low volatility point, this giant gamma node at 365, and then the pivot from positive to negative gamma at somewhere, we'll call it 372, 375 in there. Regardless of how you slice it, that's at minimum $10 higher. And then beyond that, we're talking about even more. And guess what? That's so aligned with other very important technical breakouts. So here's what I'm seeing. A positive narrative. We're seeing bullish price structure. We're seeing bullish price momentum. And we're seeing an options market that is in real time currently betting on this particular equity going higher and higher and higher. The option structure is supportive of at minimum a $10 move, but potentially up to a $30 move. So when I look at it in terms of risk reward, well, your risk is right here, not that bad. It's this recent low around 333. And even if you cut that up, that's roughly 1-to-1 to the first target. And then from there, that R to R ratio gets even better. Now, obviously, I have no crystal ball. This is a short-term swing trade call out. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm saying I just like the odds of the situation. And of course, I have put my money where my mouth is. If you watch the stream Monday to Friday, 9 to 11, you already know that I'm in Tesla calls for later on this month. I might roll them out, and I am looking for this to actively follow through and hit those exact levels that I'm calling out to you right now in real time. And obviously, I'm taking a little bit of risk. If I'm wrong, you guys are going to be laughing at me, but also what if I'm right? And what if all of a sudden seeing all these puzzle pieces of line, maybe, just maybe, I might be onto something here. So with that being said, I would love to get your thoughts of this particular narrative, technical, and options breakdown in a comment below. Other than that, I'll catch you tomorrow. I appreciate all the good vibes. I'll see you later.